Sports presented by Frontier. Dana Larson along with Brian Damaris and Devin Harris. And it's always fun. We say it every time. Mavs and Spurs never disappoints. That was, Devin, a hard-fought victory with a refuse-to-lose attitude by one Jalen Brunson.
It was, and we can't say enough things about Jalen. You know, the way he's really showing up in the clutch right now. And now, you know, we can put him in a category as a closer. You know, he really attacked, you know, McDermott at every point he could. I'm going to call him McErmott because the D was just not there tonight. But they really took advantage of the situation, and he just made play after play, and it was fun to watch.
We talked about Brunson being put in the starting lineup. Well, now, as Devin said, he's going to be in the closing lineup going forward because of his playmaking, his shot selection, his basketball IQ. I mean, there were numerous possessions down the stretch where Luka wasn't touching the ball. He was taking care of it. He was either hitting a shot or hitting the open man. And you see that 31 and 10, just an absolute stud performance. And it's the kind of game, listen, this is the kind of game playing a team you should be, even if it's on the road. If you want to be a top 4 seed in the West, and that's where the teams are that get into the second round, they're in the top 4, then this is the kind of game you have to win. This is not a steal game. I don't care who's hurt. I don't care who's not there. This is a game you have to win. You have to have performances like that to get those W's.
See those numbers there, Devin, averaging 18 as a starter over the last 2 years. What is it about Jalen? He's happy to do whatever you need, right? He's going to be there to bring whatever the team asks for, but it seems like when they call on him to be in that starting lineup, he produces. Well,
he wants to be a starter, so when you go in the starting lineup, you got to perform. But he's the type of guy that really seizes the opportunity no matter where it comes from. And the Mavs have a diamond in the rough. You know, put him on the bench, they put him in the starting lineup. It doesn't matter. He's going to play the same way, and moving forward, might need to take a look at keeping him there if he's playing this effectively.
He's going to have to learn how to miss free throws on purpose. We were watching that, and you saw Jason Kidd. It was a great camera angle by our team there, telling him to miss the free throw. Right here, you can see it. Miss it. Very, you know, Jay Kidd was known for this. Remember when he ran into the Atlanta coach over there on the sideline and got the check a few years ago when he was playing? So it was a smart move, but you got to hit the rim. And I think he just got a little too cute with it. It's an interesting philosophy. You're up 1, 2.7 seconds left. You know San Antonio doesn't have any timeouts. What would you rather do? Would you rather be up 2 with them able to throw the ball in, or up 1 with them having to get the rebound and go the length of the floor? Of course, we got the worst of both worlds because we're only up 1, and because of the review, they were able to set up a play. But with Boban there causing a lot of traffic, having the biggest player in the NBA guard the inbound pass, they were able to get away with it.
It's an interesting perspective because I've been a part of a game where we chose not to miss the free throw. They took the ball out and hit a wild shot to send us in overtime. So it can sometimes go either way. Percentages, I don't know which one goes which, but it worked out for the Mavs tonight.
Although I do like the fact that Ntilikina fouled in the possession before that, not giving them a chance when they were up 107-104 to even attempt a 3. You want to get that foul, put them on the line. They ended up missing one.
Paid off.
It paid off. I don't like giving a team a chance to shoot the 3, even though it gets back and forth and you're adding possessions. I'd much rather them earn it on the free throw line than get an open look.
Devin, is it hard to try to miss a free throw but hit the rim?
It depends. I mean,
it's always when you want to miss that you make it.
Exactly.
Right.
And, you know, I seen guys that can really do it well. It's not something you practice. You don't practice missing free throws, so it's a hard thing sometimes.
I love what Jalen said afterwards. I was told to miss that, so don't leave it on me, all right, everybody? And you just knew there was no way, as great a game as he had, it could not come down to that, and thankfully it did not come down to that. He was certainly a star late. Boban Marjanovic was a star throughout, and it feels like he has these games against San Antonio, and every bit of it was needed here tonight. Going big, Devin, was key for the Mavericks in this regard.
It was key, and I think Boban is a guy you kind of throw out there just to mix things up and, you know, see if you can get a kick in the, you know, whatever out of the bench. But, you know, tonight where you take Jalen out of the starting lineup, you put in Boban to really, you know, give you that kick, and he did just that. Control the paint. You know, he's great on the offensive rebound, and he's just a big guy that it's hard to deal with. He punishes guys on the switches, and he gives you a lot of energy. You know, he was another guy that really did a lot off the bench tonight.
Yeah, he did on both ends of the floor. It was basically a layup line when he was not in there tonight. The Spurs scored all of their points in the paint except for 6 shots all night, and those were all threes. They did nothing from the mid-range, and so they had to have him in there to have some semblance of rim protection, and he was able to provide that with, 17 points in only 14 minutes with 5 rebounds. And then on the offensive side, you saw how Luka loves feeding him that vertical game and getting him those easy buckets. So really, he was absolutely key in that second quarter, and then again there in the early part of the fourth and down the stretch until he got out of the game because of foul trouble, of, basically stemming the tide of just layup after layup.
It was really difficult to watch, in fact, because the Spurs were doing whatever they wanted in the paint. Had a long run, a 12-4 run there to go up by as many as 10 in the early part of that second half. But you're right, as soon as Boban came in, things changed for the better, and then Jalen Brunson took over from there. Tim Hardaway Jr., though, not to be overlooked in this game tonight. He had 23, 7 of 17. It wasn't just three-point shooting, Devin. He was doing a lot of things, including finding guys. He had 3 assists, and some of them coming at really key moments.
Yeah, Tim is evolving as a scorer. He's not just a three-point shooter like he used to be. He was doing a lot. I saw a play where he went baseline for a dunk. You really didn't see that from him, a couple years ago. But he's evolving, and the Mavs are giving him the opportunity to do so. He's moving him around and putting him in different spots. But one thing he really still can do is shoot the ball.
That second quarter was really key. That run they were able to get, even though they lost some of that lead later by halftime, it was him that really made those moves, especially when Luka's on the bench. King with rebounds, 2 steals. They really want to make him more of a defensive presence this year. And Jake Kidd has said, they really put the onus on him to up his defense as well. So it's the rebounding, it was the distribution, it was the scoring there in the second quarter that really gave them that little cushion they could play with.
You've pointed out his defense in recent games as well.
You can see, the activity is there, and the want to is there. It doesn't always. These guys are hard to guard, but you can see who they're matching them up against. They want the defense to be there, and I think everybody's buying into that system, including Tim Hardaway.
Well, and the want to is there, and the other thing is, of course, you're going that hard on the defensive end. Meanwhile, when the shots were not falling for the Mavericks in recent games, the frustration of that. So you're fighting both things, and credit him for staying, full bore on both ends while he's trying to work through that shot.
100%. Sometimes when the shots aren't there, we see him kind of disappear in previous years, in previous games. I don't think that's necessarily the case. Sometimes he gets off to very slow starts, but it finds his way to kind of fight his way through. But defensively, you normally don't see a drop off his activity. And
it's really good to have a game where there's distribution on the scoring, right? So it's not all Luka carrying it by himself, but you have Tim, you have Boban, you have Jalen, you have all these other players stepping up and playing their roles. So it's a widely distributed game. It makes it much harder to defend. You saw Luka taking possessions off, which is a good thing for his rest, and not having to be the focal point because, listen, Pop was going to trap him from possession 1. Right, and so everybody else had to do their job, and they stepped up tonight.
Well, and we watched the Miami Heat just last night with 4 guys with 20-plus points.